Yeah, definitely come. So welcome back. It's been a little while since we had you on the show.
Yes.
But I want to make sure people knew that you were coming to Philly, and I guess you'll be on your main little East Coast run.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be at Caroline's the following weekend, Labor Day weekend.
Yes, that's true.
So.
Caroline, New York City, that is.
Caroline's on Broadway, as they say on Instagram.
Right. Yeah, I was in New York. They have your picture plastered right all along the building.
As they should.
Absolutely.
They should, because you've got a lot of great style.
Thank you.
Your jewelry, your hair, you're beautiful.
I'm a lot. It's a lot.
I love it.
So, I mean, we have about a half hour to chat. I mean, we've talked in the past about the need for Real Black to have more women comedians on. You've gotten into on me about that, so we've made a concerted effort, and but I'm really curious about your origin story, like how you got started in comedy, like when you knew you were funny, and how this career has projected itself.
Well, we're not going to do that for the sake of time because it's a long, convoluted story that starts 30 years ago. And I've done at least 100 interviews explaining that story, so let's not do it here. Nobody really cares about how you got started. It used to be a time when people cared. Nobody cares no more. But we can talk about, parts of the journey and stuff like that, for the sake of time and stuff. But how I got started is a long, there's no way to tell it in a short way.
In a short amount of time. Okay, well, that's fair. Just you're like Paul Mooney. You just threw away my first 5 questions.
I was mentored. Paul Mooney was my mentor. So I am very much like Mooney in a lot of ways. People may understand or may not.
Because I know, I'm one of 9. So there was a lot of humor going on within my family, and certain ones stood out. And are you from a big family, a small family, and were they the ones discovering how funny you were, or how did it all begin?
Well, clearly you don't follow me on Instagram, because if you did, you would have seen my whole entire family reunion that I just came home from Monday. So I am the 8th of 8 children. I am not by any means the funniest person in my family. I'm just the one who got a chance to do this professionally. I don't think that I was always funny. People tell me I was always funny, but I think that's a lie, because I remember a time when I was very sad as a child and not funny. And I went to all-white schools as one of only 6 or 12 black people there. So how funny could I really be? You understand where I'm coming from? So I think that the funny that I am just came from sarcasm, and that we have a sharp tongue in our family, and you have to have pretty thick skin to be around any of us. So I think that. But I don't really have a moment of clarity when I knew I was funny, though.
Right. And a lot of times it is other people that will tell you or bring it out of you. We don't see it ourselves, but they'll think it's funny, and you're just being yourself. So
people will say, "How you doing today?" I'll be like, good as I can be, and they'll fall out laughing. I'm like, "What did I just say that was funny then? Like, what are you talking about?"
Exactly. You're just being you.
Right.
You are naturally funny.
And I'm really low-key shitty. So that kind of funny, a lot of people are attracted to as well, because it's sort of a mind game of wits. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't do the dozens, and I've never done really that. I just got asked to do Wildin' Out again. I've already done it twice. I was like, no, because I'm not going to... I'm grown, and that show is not for grown people. That show is for young adults. And I might make an appearance on there, but I'm not going to get on there and be battling back and forth with nobody. That's not what I do. because the stuff I would say, you're going to get real pissed off about. Somebody might want to shoot me. So I just prefer not to do that anymore.
So, Luenell, I mean, who were some of your influences then, besides Mr. Mooney?
Well, Mooney, of course, Richard, of course, Joan Rivers, who was always very curt herself, Roseanne Barr, obviously before the breakdown, LaWanda Page, who was very dirty, and people don't give her the props for her little filthy mouth because she masked it with Christianity type thing. She did a lot of Bible stuff, but turned it real naughty, you know. And Sam Kinison, George Carlin, Lenny Bruce, who went to jail for being the way he was. So I don't like to chuckle. I like to laugh heartily. I don't like to make people chuckle. I like people to like spit their drink out type thing. So I really go, I just go hard. But I think that I'm really not even trying to be a comedian. I really, as the 8th of 8 kids, you being from the big family teacher, I want to be heard. I have things I want to say. So I'm really just talking to people as my friends. And if you find it funny, great. And I can make it funny. But during my show, it's not all about being funny. I'm also speaking on, the state of our educational system and some of the racism stuff, and I throw that in there, and I've done it. I've done stuff about D.C. in D.C. in front of white folks that got a little uncomfortable. I could not care less because the same door you came in, you can walk out of that. Ain't nobody making you stay in the seat. You ain't gonna get no refund.
That's right. That's right.
Preach. So, I mean, in terms of your process in writing, I mean, do you sit down and write paper, or like what's your process? Like a lot of people, I know Chris Rock does bullet points and then he just goes up and riffs.
That's exactly what I do. I've never sat down and written any material in my life. I feel like if you do that now, you're going to be scripted and you're going to be using your page as a crutch. You don't have the freedom to free flow if you write it out. I mean, some people work that way, and that's great. And that's why I don't give, any advice on how do you do this, how do you do that, because everybody's process is different. But me, I just I'll see something and say, talk about being in the waiting room at the doctor, and then I'll formulate stuff in my mind, and I don't go out and try material for a special. I just do it. Like I could do my Netflix special today, and I could do it tomorrow. I could do it any day I wake up because I'm just fearless in that way, and I don't bite my tongue, and I just think about things, I was on a bus one time, and I remember hearing these old ladies, and they were talking. They were talking about they were talking about their ailments. Girl, I got this bursitis, is killing me. Girl, I know what you mean, because my knees they crack every time I walk, sound like popcorn. Girl, Beverly down the street just had a hip replacement. Oh, I know, because I got this tendonitis, and I'm like, oh, that is hilarious to me. So I just hear things and see things and talk about that.
Right. The realness of life.
The realness of life.
That's right. Have you ever performed any material that someone wrote for you?
No, never. I've never had a writer. No.
So you always just coming from your soul and
coming from my soul is a good way. Yeah. It all comes from my soul. Because like I was talking about, okay, so the kids were out of school during quarantine. And you had to continue to teach your children or their mind is gone right now, right? So some people went back to work and some people didn't. And the people who didn't and maybe started businesses or whatever, I feel they should continue to teach homeschool their kids because A, school ain't safe. B, the kids are out of hand. C, They're threatening teachers with guns. D, they're bringing guns to school. And more importantly than all that is that it came out what we already knew, and that is that the whole education that all of us on this show right now, the education we got was a complete and total lie. Not some of it, but all of it. And you can't erase black people from the history of this country. You can't erase gay people from the history of this country. You can't erase Mexicans from the history of this country. But the white people have tried to do that with the statues, with the books, with the religion, with the Christianity. We didn't have Christianity when we came over here. We had our own religion. We don't have a religion. We don't have a language. We don't have nothing. We don't even know if our birth dates are actually our birthdays. So now they have not changed the curriculum in the school. So now you open the school and you take your kids back to school and they're continuing to teach the same bullshit they was teaching before it came out publicly. And in Texas and a place like that, they're trying to erase the fact that slavery ever happened. They don't want to say the word. They don't want to have critical race theory. So I say in my act, and I don't give a damn who gets comfortable and uncomfortable, because I hope that you're laughing, but you're listening.
Yeah.
And I hope that when you get in the car, you go see an Earth, Wind & Fire concert, and in the car on the way home, you're like, oh, God, Maurice was amazing. I love when they sang In the Storm. That's my song. I want people to talk about the show when they get in the car, when they leave from seeing me.
That's right. I've always admired your provocative style of comedy. You make people think. Like, it provokes thought. Even if it's...
I hope so.
Hey, you put it in a little package. If they don't like exactly the way you're saying it, I think it will make them think later, because...
I hope so.
At the end of the day.
I hope so.
But you're right. I mean, speaking about schools and like the way the curriculum and all that is so much truth to that. Do you think there's any particular thing that... Do you think it starts with the home, with the parents? What do you think as a whole, especially as black people, that we should do? Just touch on that really quick, because I think coming together collectively has been the problem. Like,
what I think it starts with is books, okay?
Yes.
Books. You remember that old adage they used to say, if you want to hide something from put it in a book.
Put it in a book.
If you read, you will find out things, but people don't read no more. I keep a book on my bed. I keep a book in the bathroom. I collect books that I used to buy from Essewan Bookstore, which was a black bookstore. It's now closed a couple of weeks ago here in Leimert Park in L.A. And I will only buy my books from a black bookstore. I'll find another one because they need our support, the black bookstores. And there is a lot of information on the internet as well. But you have to dive for it. You have to look for it. Because I would rather show you people getting beat up by the police. They'd rather show you twerking. They'd rather show you, dance moves than... And nobody's interested. If the parents aren't putting it in the kids early, that this is what this is what Kwanzaa is. This is what... CMOS is. If we don't start with them early, by the time they're 7, 8 years old, we done lost them. They're gone.
So we're talking with Luenell, who's going to be at the Helium Comedy Club this weekend.
I sound like Farrakhan right now. I don't sound like I'm going to be doing comedy, but I am. I'm coming, Philly.
You open that door, Luenell. So the next question I have is, when did you first realize that you were being lied to by this educational system?
Well, as I said, my education was in all white schools. You see, I only went to black schools until I was in 3rd grade. Then my parents moved me to the suburbs of Oakland, a place called Castro Valley High School. And I knew it from the littlest thing. Like, I wanted to do theater. There came a time when I wanted to do theater and stuff. And I realized I could never be the lead in any of these plays because the white girl's going to always get it. I'll only be the background. I'll only be the cast. So it's little stuff like that. And then where I lived, and then I learned about redlining, and then I learned about more stuff, and then I got more curious. And I don't know when I turned into such a loudmouth radical, but I wouldn't change it because somebody's got to speak on this stuff, somebody that people want to listen to. You can try to feed kids everything, But if it's not from somebody they want to listen to, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. So that's why I try to do my comedy, but I throw a little bit in there as well, you know?
And you said you moved to California, but you're from Arkansas, right?
I was born in Towlett, Arkansas. I want you to go on my Instagram page and scroll back and you start seeing all these people with shirts. You know how you do the family reunion with the T-shirts? When you start seeing all that, then you'll know. I'm the 8th of 8. I was born in Towlett, Arkansas, my grandfather's house, allegedly on March 12th. I didn't get a birth certificate for a few months because I was born, at home with a midwife. And then through a bunch of circumstances, I got adopted out of the family into my family. But, how people go sing you with grandma and stuff like that. That's what happened to me. But the rest of my brothers and sisters remained growing up in Arkansas.
What age was that?
I was 2 months old. I was gone.
Oh, okay.
They had got rid of me.
And you went to the Bay.
And I came to the Bay. And I've been in Los Angeles for it was 20 years. I think it's really more like 22 years I've been in Los Angeles. And I was raised in the burbs, in a beautiful home with swimming lessons and ballet lessons and all that. But the theater company I wanted to go to was in Oakland. And then when I went back to Oakland and was doing theater and was hanging out and all that kind of stuff, when it came time for me to move, I moved on my 18th birthday, gone. I moved where I could afford to. So, of course, I moved to the hood, but I found a weird sort of comfort there being around my people. I could smell barbecue on the 4th. The 4th. Juneteenth, by the way, is what we're celebrating now. I could find the incense store. I could find the hair grease that I use. I could find the shea butter that I wanted in my community, as they call the hood. Hood doesn't mean ghetto. Hood means neighborhood.
Yes.
And so then when I moved from Oakland, I moved to another place I live in the Crenshaw district. And I've been happy here for years. Ain't nobody scratched my car. Ain't nobody broke in on me. Ain't nobody done nothing. I really think my hood protects me because they know what I do. They know who I am. There's a way to move in the community. Even as you elevate, you have to, don't floss or front off people, embrace your neighbors. I give out cookies to my neighbors at Christmas time. The guy who moved across the street, he brought me vegetables from the garden. You don't think about that when you think about the Crenshaw district. But that is what we're doing down here. Now, I want to move at some point, not because anything's wrong, but I just need more space. So I'm going to move, maybe up to a hilly area or something, but it ain't going to be far from here. And I'm definitely not moving to the San Fernando Valley because I'm not trying to. We like to be in the yard. Black folks like to be outside. We want to play cards. We want to play domino. We want to barbecue. We want to be loud. We want to play music. We want to have fun. And I can do that down here all night long, just like the Mexicans and stuff up down the street. I don't need nobody at 9:01 calling the police on me because I'm fucking playing Luther Vandross on 8,
That's right.
So,
That's right.
white folks, y'all need to stand down, really.
I was going to ask you that. What kind of music do you enjoy?
Well, I enjoy a little bit of everything because of the era that I grew up. I can listen to Chicago, Santana, Genesis, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Isley Brothers, Houdini, Eric B. and Rakim, EPMD. I listen to some of everything. The Beatles, the Stones. I listen to everything.
Love it.
Very well rounded
Yeah.
musically. And you answered a lot. I was going to ask you those questions about your upbringing because I'm one of 9 and I was raised in an all-white area.
What number are you in 9?
I'm number 5.
Oh, wow.
I land right in the middle. You're number 8.
I'm number 8. But how many boys, how many girls?
There's 4 boys and 5 girls.
Jeez.
So I'm the 5th. So I'm smack dab in the middle. but I caught all the everything. But I was going to say that there are some people that grow up in areas, and it affects their life in a way where they may have a level of confusion as to what I've seen it in my life. I was around my family a lot, and I was going to say you have not compromised at all who you are. So
If anything, I'm blacker. If anything,
yeah,
I'm blacker for having
because you
lived
connected.
in the burbs than than I would have been had I just stayed. And I'm also glad for the experience because there's nothing that I have to read or nothing. I have white friends, very select ones. They're the allies. They're the woke folk. They're not the colonizers. You feel me?
Gotcha.
And but even with that, there's certain stuff like we see on the ground that I send to my black friends. I'm not sending to my white friends. They just won't understand. And I'm very glad for my education. I have a bachelor's arts degree in English Lit. That's why I say I'm very well read. And I must admit, though, I don't read like I used to because I get about 25 pages in and I'm like, I'll fall asleep because I'm so tired all the time. I wish I could read like I used to. I used to could sit down and read a novel in a day. But I don't read like that no more. But I do still try to pick up a book,
Yeah, for sure. Well, you have a lot of life experience too, so you have a lot of references to pull from in your comedy and in your just everyday life, I'm sure.
Yeah, I got a lot of life experiences. I've been incarcerated. I've done drugs. I've been, I've done the rape thing, the incest thing, all that shit. Everything I've been through, there's no way that I should even be a comedian. I should be in a mental ward somewhere. But I take all the anger that I have and I throw it out on the stage. I use that when I'm talking about education. I get mad and I take that anger and I put it out on the stage, And there will be a book and a documentary is being done right now on the low. Nobody really knows about that. Yeah, because I do got a story to tell.
Yeah.
It ain't all smiles, honey, all the time.
I hear you. Well, a lot of people know you from your movie roles, and I think that you steal every movie that you're in, and I love what you're doing. I guess Block Party is the most recent thing.
Well, absolutely not. The most
No?
recent movie I did was called, Block Party. Yeah, Block Party, and I just shot something for Hulu the other day. And of course, so far, I'm on that series, Hacks, that's on HBO Max, starring Gene Smart. But yeah, Block Party is the last movie that I did. I'm really proud of that, too. Because that's the first, it had a black female director. It's the first movie dealing with Juneteenth. Since Juneteenth became a holiday, and then you tell people that, and they go, "Oh, is this about history?" And so, no, it's a comedy that teaches as well, just like me. Plus, I got a chance to work with my girl Golden Brooks from Girlfriends, and I got to work with the great Margaret Avery.
Right.
And Margaret has said that she wants to do more comedy because she's so stuck in that Suge Avery role. That's what people think of her as.
Yeah.
But she's really very randy and very funny, and you get to see it in that movie. And we fought about Margaret because on the set, I felt like her dressing room was inadequate. They had a bed in it, but it didn't have no sheets on it, didn't have no blankets on it, didn't have no flowers in it. And I told her ass about that. I said, you know who the fuck this is? She may not be that important to you, but she's super important to us. You need to do better. The food was horrible. So me and my cousin Shay Sugar, we cooked and brought food to the set. She was very glad about that. Everybody was. And hair and makeup, the people that got it. And I felt like it was really hot. They were making her walk too far from the vehicle to the set. I'm like, no. And we have to fight for our people. We have to shoot. We have to fight for our elders. You know what I'm saying? Everybody take care of their elders, but black folks lack a little bit. They quick to throw somebody in the rest home. when we got to take care of our own folk. You don't see them Asians throwing their grandma and them up in the rest home. You don't see them Mexicans throwing Tia and shit up in the rest home. They'll take care of them. And it's very difficult. It's very heartbreaking. It's time consuming. Nobody wants to see your elder with dementia or nothing like that. But you want somebody else to take care of them?
Yeah.
If you do anything, hire somebody and have them come in, so you can watch them. We got to take care of our elders, and dying young is not the lick. These kids be dead at 22, 24 years old, never had a child, never finished their education, never going to walk down the aisle, never going to have grandkids, and they want to say, old ass Luenell, old ass LL Cool J. Oh, you better hope and pray that you get to be old. You better pray that, because life is worth living, for me.
So what's it like being in the movies, being a movie star?
It has its advantages,
I love the way you just said that.
It has its
mystery
advantages.
behind it.
I can get, there's one thing being a movie star, and there's one thing being a movie star. Like, I'm not a movie star. I've never had a role that was mine. I just pop up in movies. I'm the pop-up queen. That's what I call myself. I've never carried a film. I don't feel like a movie star. But I am absolutely a celebrity. And so with that, you get a little perks. You might get the better cut of meat at the butcher. You might get to the table a little quicker. You might, there's stuff like that. But then also there's the drawbacks, It's difficult when my daughter and I go out certain places, because my daughter says she has to go into security mode then. She has to, got to protect my mom and watch who's running up on my mom, and when she would rather just go out and just be with mom, So if she's going to take me someplace, it has to be a certain type of place. It has to have certain places I sit. I'm very picky about that. Don't put me on the host role in the middle of the restaurant. I need to be in the cut. Whoever sees me, sees me, and stuff like that. So it has its advantages and its drawbacks, but I wouldn't change a damn thing. I wouldn't change a damn thing.
I can't blame you. I always hear Patti LaBelle say, when they stop being interested, that's when it's over. So she will sign, she's speaking of how she'll sign everything. Are you like that? Like, no matter where you are, will you stop for that fan and that person that really admires you?
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
I don't like people to stop me if I'm obviously on the way to the restroom.
Gotcha.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And don't ask to take pictures in the bathroom. This bitch just shit over here. I don't want to be in here. I have to come out of the restroom. So why don't you just wait till I come out of the restroom? Since you're going to ambush me anyway. I don't like you to bother me while I'm eating. If you're there when I'm finished eating, you can get me. I can be kind of curt and rude sometimes, and I don't want to be that way. But sometimes you might, I'm human. And then when I was in Toledo for my homecoming family reunion, I took every picture with everybody. Because number one, there's only 240 people in the town. Number two, 100 of them are related to me. Number three, they don't see me all the time. I have made them proud. I'm in the African American Museum in Little Rock. There's nobody. If you Google famous people from Toledo, Arkansas, there's only one name. It's me. And I've made them proud. I owe them that. I was born from that soil. I may not have been raised there, but we only do these every 2 years. So everybody that asks me, I will take a picture with when I'm at home. And I try to do my best. And I don't like parents to push their kids on me. Oh, my daughter want to know if she can take a picture with you. Your daughter's 4. She don't even know who the fuck I am. And if she do, she shouldn't. Because everything you would see, that's another thing. People don't have the thing that we grew up with. When grown folks are talking, get on up out the room.
Yeah.
Don't be in my face when grown folks are having a conversation. You're not privy to everything. You're going to find out everything in due time, And just because I'm sitting watching, anybody, don't mean that you should sit in here and watch it with me, you know? But parents are really lax in that. And I'm like what they said, my child saw you in That's My Boy. Well, in the movie That's My Boy, I had prosthetic boobs and they were out through the whole movie. So why did you let your child watch that? You know? So
Yeah. Parents have to definitely take
they need to do better. Step up. You know, but
Yeah.
we lost a whole generation, you know, to the crack thing. So
Yeah, it's
we're still recuperating from that. We still recuperating from slavery. White folks don't want to talk about it. But when you have a nationality of people who have lived through documentation of children being ripped out of mothers' hands and they buck busting the men in the middle of town. Some people don't even know what buck busting is. And when we have that, there's never been therapy for black folks. We only just started talking about depression and therapy, I feel like, in the last 5 years.
That's true.
You know, and we all need, God knows I need some therapy. I have separation issues. When people come into my life and I love on them and then they got to go or they move away, it messes with me. You know, I'm like, why did I put my emotions into this person that is just gone? You know, probably why I ain't got no boyfriend right now.
That's right.
My husband, I have a husband.
News, Luenell?
Huh?
Is that breaking news?
No. Yeah, that's breaking. Well, I'm married, but
Okay.
there's a but. My husband and I got married in 3 weeks. Later down the line, he had already had a drug history I didn't know about. We separated for 13 years. We got back together when I found out he had prostate cancer. I didn't want him to die, and I helped him through that, and we're still cool. But he don't live with me. He lives in Texas where his daughter can take care of him. So once again, I'm alone. Nobody to roll out the garbage cans. Nobody to fix this. And he's an electrician. He could have this place on the clapper if I wanted him to. But he's not here. So,
Right.
you know.
Alone but not lonely.
So is that
No, alone and lonely.
Okay.
Two-part question. One, I mean, like you said, this 30-year journey. I mean, was there ever a point where you thought about leaving comedy? And then two, what is the toughest aspect of being on the road and traveling as a comedian?
Well, the first question, have I ever thought about quitting? Yes, of course. I think also when, when you see people pass you up that you feel aren't as dedicated to the craft, they're just doing it to get a bag, that hurts. Because I did comedy for a year. See, these kids are coming into comedy and getting paid in, less than a year. I didn't get any money for at least the first 20 years I did comedy. Because I started before there was any blacks on TV regularly. I started before there was a Comic View, before there was a Def Jam. And so there was no money. I did it because I loved it, because I love people, and I love the art of comedy. I love the freedom of it. You're your own director, your own writer, your own producer, your own critic. Nobody telling you what to do. They can't do that in comedy, and I love that. The hardest part about doing it for me is because I'm a mother. And I've missed some very important events for my daughter. I'm not...
You only have the one daughter?
One and done, honey.
Just one and done?
I can educate one. I can house one. I can get cars for one. One. I don't know how people do it. Plus, they just don't build uteruses no more like your mama and my mama had. 8 and 9 children. These girls would fall out in the street. They would fall in the street if they got pregnant 8, 9 times. Plus, who can afford it these days? But yeah, I that's difficult, and I get very tired, and I can't go see anybody that I want to go see. I can't go to a Whispers concert. We all perform at the same time, even if we're in the same city. I can't go. So I've missed so much. I want to go to concerts. I want to go see Mount Westmore. I want to go see, my girlfriend Layla Hathaway. I want to go do things, but we're all performing at the same time, so I can't.
Yeah.
Pretty difficult.
We're almost at that time. Tisa, any final questions?
Yeah, I mean, as far as women in comedy, there's a lot of upcoming women that want to be comics. Is there any advice you could put out there?
I don't know if they want to be comics or they want to be celebrities.
Good question.
So there's that.
But for those that are true to it, that feel they have an edge and they may be around people that, because a lot of times when you discover your talents, other people are telling you, hey, you should do this. And people do have had success, by following that at times. So those that are real with it.
What?
I think a lot of times with artists, they forget about the business side too of what's going on. So just one or two words to speak to that.
The only thing I would say is take care of your business. Like, pay your taxes so that when you do get stuff, the white man don't come take it from you. Be kind to the people that work with you and for you. Mm-hmm. Be kind to them. And be kind to yourself, too. If you need to take some time out, take some time out. Because your people will work you to death. I've seen it happen. If you feel like you need 3 weeks off in April, tell them, I'm going to need 3 weeks off in April. Because at the end of the day, they do work for you, you don't work for them. So, and then just try to be original and be yourself. I think that the way to connect with audiences is to be yourself, be authentic, so that they feel, because people want to feel like they know you,
That's right.
But I really don't give advice because don't nobody really want to hear it.
Well, everything you said, that could be applied to just life. Those were some really good points,
Yeah.
But definitely being true to yourself.
So are there any roles you'd like to play?
I would love to get into that, but I'm rolling over into another interview right now and I gotta go. I'll think about that question. Now, ask me when you come see me. Mike?
Yeah.
You better come see me in Philly.